Big news with the Paw Sox tonight, huh? What used to be just a casual conversation about family-friendly entertainment now has turned into a major top story and a business transaction that has everybody in Southern New England talking. It is a pleasure to have you aboard on My State of Mind. I am Dan York. Our guest from Brown University is going to tell us about cybersecurity. Do not take this for granted. Anna Lysyanskaya. Right. Lysyanskaya. Easy. She gets a kick out of this, or she used to. It's her third visit. Lysyanskaya. Easy for Jess to say, not me to say. She's been here twice to talk to us about the Ukraine because that is where she hails from. But her expertise is in encryption and computer science and cryptology, the formal study of, and it's an important conversation. So we will get to her tonight as well. So we got a lot going on here. We're going to shorten up the rundown a little bit on this Monday. How was your weekend, by the way? How'd you do with the rain on top of the snow? I was out, like, leaning out of a window onto my deck, shoveling, because I couldn't get to it, but we were so worried that the deck would be compromised by the snow and the rain together. So I'm with you. It's not easy. It's going to get better. There will be a spring. We're talking baseball and the natural evolution of ownership of the local baseball franchise. The politics in the Oscars last night, you got to accept it. You got to be ready for it, but it's always somewhat stunning to me. And there's a story in the paper today about specialty plates, and I've got a very quick thought on that. Your state of mind is important. I like your quick thoughts back to us. It's called Feedback, and we'll take a look. All right, let's dig in here. Yeah, so this was a big deal. You know, we knew this was coming. I've been telling you this has been coming. I've been telling you that the rumors are that the Paw Sox had been sold to a Larry Lucchino et al. Group, the president of the Red Sox, and a minority group there. And it's true, there's some pretty heavy hitters here in the state of Rhode Island now that are involved in the transaction of the Paw Sox to new ownership. The great thing is that they're keeping the local ownership. Let me do this. Let me show you a little bit of an Eyewitness News piece because, of course, it features the mayor of Pawtucket who took this one pretty hard.
The Paw Sox are trying to drop their paw. Pawtucket's Mayor Don Grebian met face-to-face with the team's owners last night when they broke the news.
Honest discussion. It was hard for them to tell the mayor of the city of Pawtucket that they weren't going to be part of it, and it was hard for me to sit there and listen to it. We shared the disappointment.
The question now is, where will they go? Grebian tells us the owners want to stay in Rhode Island and create a destination. It's impossible to ignore the importance of this team to Pawtucket. As for a timetable, Grebian says once a deal is complete, he was told to expect a 2 to 3 year transition period before the team is officially out of the city.
You look at what Ben Mondor and Mike Tamboro had done. Pawtucket is a history. It made the Paw Sox.
Now listen, the 75th anniversary of McCoy Stadium is the 2017 season. And I know the Paw Sox current ownership and management had, well, before yesterday, had a big plan to celebrate McCoy. If you want to understand the structure of how the whole stadium thing works, Mike Tamboro, the president, minority owner, and president of the Paw Sox, talked to us about it last summer.
It's owned by the city of Pawtucket,
right,
leased to the state, and we lease it from the state.
And the reason there's that three-pronged formula is why?
Because really the state and the ball club needed to step in the shoes of the city to renovate the building. The city wasn't in the position to help get that accomplished. And so it took the help of the state, and it took the help of the ball club to make it happen.
And that lease runs how long?
They just extended the lease for 5 additional years, which runs through the 21 season with an automatic renewal of 5. So it'll take us to 2026.
Yeah. Now, at this point, I'm not sure how that lease becomes a liability for the new ownership. It may or may not. They have a 4 o'clock scheduled press conference, a call-in conference for the media, a media availability for the new leadership. James Skeffington, a lawyer, locally here, is one of the local guys that is going to lead this investment group that also includes the former CEO of CBS, Tom Ryan, and others. Now, it was kind of serendipitous last summer when Mike was talking to us about change. Listen to this.
We've tried to improve that facility every single year, and I think that's what fans have come to expect from us. Change is always good. We're always trying to upgrade it, always trying to maintain it.
Yeah, always trying to maintain it, always trying to upgrade it, and change is good. Well, this is the big change. Now, here's the good news. Mike Tamburo is staying. Lou Schweckheimer is staying. Those are the two guys that still have stock. Mrs. Mondor, Ben's, God rest his soul, widow, is the primary former owner that has made this big sale happen. But Mike is staying, and Lou is staying, and they're brilliant guys, which tells me that this is going to be okay. Here's the key. Can they make a deal for Providence? There's no doubt that the ownership is saying we're leaving McCoy. No doubt about it. McCoy is out of the picture. So if the city of Providence can make it work, all right then. Their principals in this negotiation are going to have to really come to the table, unwind some legislation. This piece of legislation right here is the 195 legislation that's going to be completely moot by the time this whole thing is over, because this investment group is looking to go to 195, which I think is just going to be aesthetically gorgeous. Can you imagine a summer night with the city lights and the stadium lights and 72 dates? That's what they play in the International League, you know, of commerce and family outing and all of that. But of course, the politicians are going to have to make this thing work. Jorge Alorza, the mayor of Providence, said this: maintaining local ownership of the Red Sox AAA affiliate is important for Rhode Island, and I commend and congratulate the new owners in their efforts to keep the team in our state. The prospect of moving the team to Providence represents a significant and exciting development opportunity for our capital city. All right, better than what he's done with the snow so far. Nick Mattiello, the House Speaker, says the following: excited that a new stadium will be built in Providence, as if it's fait accompli. That was kind of interesting. He's calling about, he's talking spring of 2017. I think that might be premature. And again, that's the 75th anniversary of McCoy, so I'm not sure how that's going to play out. Disappointing they'll be leaving Pawtucket, which is served, mindful the stadium's antiquated, blah, 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 blah. You know, Nick speak. He covers every base. And then the governor, who I think is kind of nurturing Pawtucket here in her statement, a little bit more reserved. The Paw Sox are an institution in Rhode Island, and my main goal is keeping them in the state. I look forward to discussions with the new owners about the details of their proposals. We need a plan that makes sense for the people of Rhode Island. Well, she gets the Capitania Obvious Award. Well, no kidding, Governor. Obviously, she's trying to nurse the Pawtucket wounds at this point. All right, bottom line. This deal can and should be done. We should be positive about this. This would be exciting. It could turn a whole psychological new leaf for the city of Providence and a whole new added quality of life for the state of Rhode Island. And as far as Pawtucket's concerned, they'll survive. They'll probably get some state grant money or something, redevelop the McCoy property for some kind of municipal merger, maybe of the high schools, some athletic facilities. They'll be fine. Pawtucket's a great city. They'll survive this. But keeping that team in Rhode Island is of utmost priority. All right, so that's all of my thought and coverage on that here this evening. Next item, real quick, just wanted to mention the Oscars. Can it get any more political than this? Well, of course it can. It's been more political in the past, but John Legend was really, after the Beautiful Glory song that he performed with, what was the guy's name? With Common, one name. He went off on this tangent.
We say that Selma is now because the struggle for justice is right now. Yeah. We know that the Voting Rights Act that they fought for 50 years ago is being compromised right now in this country today. We know that right now, the struggle for freedom and justice is real. We live in the most incarcerated country in the world. There are more black men under correctional control today than were under slavery in 1850. When people are marching with our song, we want to tell you we are with you, we see you, we love you, and march on.
Yeah, interesting. First of all, I don't know if he's suggesting that we shouldn't do voter ID. I was trying to figure out what he was trying to say. And as far as the comparison on more incarcerated than slavery, that's a 165-year difference. He's not going to win any statistics awards. That's for sure. Look, I know we got a lot of challenges. There's no doubt about it. And do we have perfect equality, racial equality? No. But come on, man. You know, sometimes you're pushing it a little too hard. And Mr. Common, you know, in the song, talking about hands up in Ferguson, I don't need that on my Oscars. And then Ms. Arquette, she's looking for equal, I thought we had an equal rights amendment, but I don't know.
To every woman who gave birth, to every taxpayer and citizen of this nation, we have fought for everybody else's equal rights. It's our time to have wage equality once and for all, and equal rights for women in the United States of America.
Okay, I mean, I wouldn't argue that either. I'm trying to figure out, is her wage problem a problem? Is Meryl Streep's wage problem a problem? In 30 seconds, I guess you can't make that presentation. But everyone gets their 15 minutes of fame with the award, and then their 15 minutes or 15 seconds of speech making. And I don't know, does it wear you down? It does me. Specialty plates. A headline, I just found this interesting in the Providence Journal today. All the stuff that you can buy with the specialty plates. Only those causes, though, that seem to be politically correct are available on your bumper. I got a better idea. No more specialty plates. No special interests. No to one group and yes to another. Just a beautiful plate for the state of Rhode Island, the ocean state, where we are all one. Kevin like that. All right, state of mind, real quick. Let me see what you have to say. 228-1886, Facebook post, email, all that kind of thing. We are one in the spirit. What do we got here? The Center for Freedom and Prosperity weighs in on the sales tax thing. Remember, like on Friday, I was worrying about Gina Raimondo even floating 8.3 and 8.8%. He's suggesting that, you know what, that'd be a bad idea too. That's the summary. Let us know what you're thinking. When we come back, cybersecurity and more. Stay with us. Oh, I just learned we're going to cover a bunch of bases here tonight. By the way, cybersecurity is a big concern, as you should know.
No foreign nation, no hacker should be able to shut down our networks, steal our trade secrets, or invade the privacy of American families.
The president will issue an executive order aimed at improving information sharing between businesses and federal law enforcement. It will create private sector hubs where data can be exchanged easily. The Department of Homeland Security will oversee the exchange. The framework includes strong privacy protections. Calls to step up cybersecurity have grown following several major attacks, including one involving Sony Pictures and the most recent Anthem health insurance hack that compromised the personal information of millions of Americans. The president has set aside $14 billion in his budget to boost cybersecurity.
And so our Brown professor, who we've come to rely on for a bunch of different things, pens off an op-ed piece here that kind of reminds us that these aren't just stories that you watch on television. They can be your own story, right?
Thanks, yes.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
It's very exciting to be here to talk about my actual area of expertise.
As opposed to Ukraine, which you're concerned about still, I'm sure.
Very much so.
It hasn't resolved. Professor, why do I have so much trouble with this? It's Lysyanskaya.
Very good.
Thank you. I'm only going to say it that once. But you point out on my rundown that I might be all wet when it comes to the pay equity thing with women. I'm not actually arguing the point. I'm arguing that the Oscars becomes a platform for all of this. But, you know, whatever. You pointed out that the Sony hack actually brought out the pay inequity thing, right?
Exactly. As a result of the leaked emails of the Sony executives, we now know that, in fact, on certain movies, you see that female stars get paid a lot less than the male stars,
well,
even though
a couple of percentage points on the back end is the story that you were just showing me.
Right. Well, 7% versus 9%. That's a big difference. So, but back to the cybersecurity point, the reason we know this is because these North Korean hackers just got hold of all the emails of Sony executives and dumped them out there. And they knew there must have been something embarrassing there, and the reason that they did that is because they didn't like a movie, The Interview, which has since been released anyway. Right. And so they said, okay, we're going to blackmail Sony into not releasing this movie because we can. And
it worked for a while. It's had a slow release now.
Yeah.
It's kind of been in a couple of different theaters. It was a freak show. I mean, the theaters didn't want to have it. They were afraid of some kind
Right.
of terrorism. Talk about a huffing and puffing and blowing our house down with very little behind it with North Korea, huh?
Right. It was just, a bunch, maybe a couple of hackers, just knowing what they're doing.
We really
and
haven't
getting
had a
hold of it.
formal, final investigation summary on that, have we? I mean, the government's determined it was North Korea, but have we figured out who the agents were that actually got it done? No.
You mean the people,
Yeah,
the
the
specific,
players.
the players?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we have. And the thing is that even if we did, there's very little we can do about it. In fact, well, the the Justice Department has discovered the identity of other hackers, some Chinese hackers who perpetrated some cyber crimes, and they tried to indict them, and a lot of good that did,
Right.
because these guys are in China, you can't really get them.
All right, so this whole cyber thing is your field of study, cryptology and computer
That's right.
science. Cryptology is the study of encryption.
Right. Cryptography is a study of how you protect your data, and also how you protect your communication, and how you make sure that it's only the authorized people who get to do stuff.
So was the
it's all of
Sony
that.
hack a boneheaded mistake allowed by Sony? I mean, was the protection so... Were
No.
you surprised and aghast that this happened?
No, the Sony hack is just a foreshadowing of what's to come. If Sony can be hacked, any major corporation can be hacked. It is extremely easy. The software all of us are using is extremely buggy. If you ever have purchased a software product, you click accept, accept, accept. One of the things that you're accepting is that you're not going to hold whoever made the software product liable in case it turns out to be insecure. So essentially, we buy software for their functionality, and we tend to discount or forget whatever security issues there may be with that software, which means that if there is a hack, it's Sony has to deal with it. Sony cannot go to whoever made its email servers and point the finger at them and say, well, you made the software, so that you made me vulnerable.
Right. So there's all sorts of indemnification and protection there. But going back to the original question, who fell down with Sony? Who fell down?
You mean whose responsibility
Yeah.
is this? Well, I think all of us. This is a disaster. It still is a disaster waiting to happen. The internet wasn't designed with security in mind. It was designed with functionality in mind. Security has always been an afterthought. As a result, we're relying in our critical infrastructure on things that just aren't secure, that in fact we've seen attacks. And this is probably going to get worse before it gets better. But it can, let me give you an optimistic message. So as a researcher, I know that it will get better, that we have technology to make it better. We have technology to secure your data. We have technology to authenticate people so that only authorized people can get into the system, so hackers can't get in. We have all of that. But as consumers, we need to be smarter. We need to actually ask these software makers, why are there bugs in your programs? We're not going to click accept. Or maybe we can do that through government or through advocacy to just say, no, it's not good enough that you're not responsible for the security bugs you introduced. I'm not going to click accept. If you want me to buy your product, you need to stand by its privacy. So if we as a consumers become a little bit smarter, then eventually these good technologies that are secure will get a market. Because right now, there's the way the market works is if you try to make a secure product, that's going to cost you much more than if you don't. So why make it secure?
So when we come back, the question is it just a pain in the neck or is it dangerous? Stay with us. Just showing the professor, I forgot to refresh my password here at WPRI. It pops up, it drives me crazy, and they're scanning for protection. I'm like, come on, man, let's go. The accepts, I'll click, I'll click, I'll click. I'll get upset when the bank sends me you know, oh, I don't recognize your particular computer. We're going to text you a password. Blah, blah. That's good, though, right? What they're doing is good.
Yes.
They're protecting me. I should be more patient with that, right?
Yes and no.
Okay.
They are protecting you. Well, they're mostly protecting themselves.
Gotcha.
Because they are the bank, and if somebody steals money from your account, they still have to back it up.
Okay, so you're saying there ought to be consumer pressure on institutions to do better, and not
Right.
worrying about asking us for
Right.
for not coming after
That's
them.
right.
Well,
That's
how's
right.
that going to happen? How are we going to get to that place?
So, yeah, well, I'm here with all the answers now. I'm just joking. So, one thing we can do is ask, like, if you are a small business owner, for example, and you want to buy, to sign up for email service with a particular provider, ask them, what are you going to do to make my email secure? You know, asking questions doesn't cost a lot of money, but that would create at least a little bit of pressure on people who provide these services to think it through. So they get the message, actually security matters. Maybe we need to have better answers. And because there is technology out there, there is encryption, there's authentication. There are, you know.
On a small and large scale.
Right.
Okay,
It
so
really
if I
isn't-
understand, what you're telling me is the user marketplace is relying on providers of technology to us to handle it. We're submissive. We shouldn't be. And it's both on an individual bank account basis and also on our security level, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about physical security. Are you worried
Right.
that we're in danger in this country right now?
Well, I try not to think about it, but there are certain infrastructures, for example, the power grid. Some of it is done over the internet. Some of the, you know, operators might connect online. I'm not sure. I don't really. I can't say that I speak with authority when it comes to the power grid, but imagine a scenario where an attacker, a malicious attacker, can get into that system. That can have devastating consequences.
But you believe the encryption technology, the authentication technology for small and large projects like that exists.
Yes,
We're
of course.
just not working it
Exactly.
yet.
We're not using it because in order to use it, there needs to be a market. There needs to be a product that satisfies the market demand. Markets, I think, are really wonderful, but it takes some time to create supply. There needs to be some time for the demand to build up.
All right.
And
You should read the op-ed piece. What's the moral of the story today on this?
I think the moral of the story is that there's technology that's amazing. That's just, I mean, it's interesting, just sort of abstractly. It's really neat. Not just encryption and authentication. You can do things like secure computation, where all of us find out the answer, even though we don't give up our private data, but we all find out some answer, like what causes cancer. I'm not going to give up my own genes, but somehow together we get the answer. There is really amazing technology, and I think that there is promise that it would be used and that we would fix our problems. So I think I want to end
You're optimistic.
optimistically, yes.
All right. Did you get all that? It's always good to see you. Thanks.
Thanks.
Be right back. Did you get all that on the technology thing? I know, I'm swimming in it too. We do the best we can. Central Falls Mayor James Diossa, tomato. We'll get it straight tomorrow night before he gets here, I promise you. Tomorrow on My State of Mind. See you on the radio at noon. Bye.